What is up, everyone, and welcome to Men vs. Movies. I'm Griffin, as always, and this is a very special episode. This is a jam-packed, superstar, Avenger-esque episode. We're going to be having a debate here about a bunch of topics surrounding the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We'll dive into that a little bit later on, but first, I got to introduce the panel here. We got some incredible guests, some you may know, and some you may know. So let's start with Mr. Brody Serravalli, my co-host on The Words Are Not Enough. Brody, say hello to everyone.
Hello. I like the way you were saying enough, and then you said enough. I just appreciated that.
Yeah, I had to say it both ways because you can't discriminate, right?
You gotta get that international demographic, yeah, with the pronunciation, yeah.
Yes. So great to have you on, Brody. And next up, we have Mr. Zach Pope from Zach Pope, his YouTube channel. He's part of the Westworld podcast that we just started. Zach, say hello to everyone.
What is up, guys? I'm ready to debate some MCU stuff.
Yeah, stuff. Yeah. All right. Wow, what a riveting intro there from Mr. Zach Pope. Let's give him a round of applause. Woo!
We weren't told we had to prepare like an introduction.
Well, this you don't understand. This is what you don't understand. This is actually part of the debate, and you guys are just all flunking right now.
Oh, okay. Let me restart this. So Iron Man 3 is the best film in the MCU.
Yes. Absolutely.
And we have our final guest.
You're outnumbered, Griffin.
Yes. Our final guest, Mr. Tyler Tompkins, who is a channel regular. If you don't know him by now, then I guess you don't watch the channel. So Tyler, say hello to everyone.
What's up, guys? My name's Tyler.
I'm leaving that in there.
Oh shit!
I'm leaving that in there. Holy crap! What a guy! Well, if you're listening to this, because I assume you're listening, not watching, you might be noticing that there's no video. Well, when we do these longer form shows, it just makes sense to do audio only because there's a lot of discussion. Video adds in a whole other element that makes it 10 times more difficult. We are not a full-fledged production company, so this is going to be an audio only podcast form debate show, much like what we did with our MCU ranking video that came out right after Thor Ragnarok. So just to get that out of the way, you can go peruse the internet while you listen to us debate. So we have a series of 4 topics here. This is the way the whole thing is going to go down. We have 4 topics, and each person on this panel is going to get a chance to judge the other panelists during the debate. So the first topic we're going to be debating is the best MCU origin film. The second one will be the best phase in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The third topic is going to be the best Marvel Cinematic Universe film that took the most risks. That'll be an interesting one. And to close everything off, we will be debating the best fight in the MCU. So each topic we will have a time limit on each topic. It'll be 15 minutes maximum. Could be less, could be more, depends on how the debate's going. And the judge will decide a winner after the end of each round, I guess you could say, or topic, whatever you want to call it. And whoever has the most points at the end wins. And you know what they win? Absolutely nothing. Because this is just pure fun debating with some points in there just to spice things up a little bit. So enough of me giving you guys an overview. Are my panelists and everyone, are you all ready to debate the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
For sure. I'm ready to judge too.
Yes, absolutely. So we're starting off with the best MCU origin film, and Zach Pope, you are the judge this round. So I'm going to let you take it from here and let us all know when to start. Oh, I guess we should also mention which way do you guys want to go? Who wants to start for the best origin film?
Not me.
I'll go.
Not you. All right, Brody. Brody is going to be the...
How long do I have to talk for?
You can talk for as long as you want. Just don't talk for the entire 15 minutes.
If you give me too much free reign, I'll just talk until like the heat death of the universe. So.
Well, then Griffin and Tyler can shut you up and start talking about their origin film too.
Exactly.
Right,
I'll probably piss someone off. So
I'm sure you will. I don't know, Zach. This is your round, so I'm going to let you take the reins and kind of just dictate it. So if you want to cut him off, feel free to.
All right, no problem with me. All right, so I'm all ready to debate. I'm all ready to judge this, not debate this. I'm ready to hear your guys' thoughts. So I'm going to start my timer right now. And Brody, you kick it off. Ready? And go.
All right. I've got to say off the bat, the best origin film in the MCU is Captain America: The First Avenger.
Woo!
Because not only because more so than because Iron Man I could say would be like the next best option, but when you like coming off the bat with Iron Man, it had to set up like the whole universe on top of like the characters. But with Captain America, especially setting it like decades before the actual universe sort of boots off, it's more just sort of focused around the character of Steve Rogers, and on top of like just like being focused on the character, it's also like it's a very like distinct arc that his character goes on, and it's not so much not like Tony Stark where he changes by the end of the film. It's more of like an affirmation of who he is as a person, which I thought was really compelling, and it more so than the Iron Man sequels, excluding Iron Man 3, which I think is brilliant. The Captain America sequels do more to sort of bolster and sort of take what was established in Captain America, the First Avenger, and sort of extrapolate on it, which I think is the sign of a really good origin film, because it gave them so much to work with this character of Steve Rogers. You almost immediately understand him completely. And then on top of that, setting it in World War II is just a very interesting sort of choice, because it affects the entire tone of the film. It's sort of like an old action serial, which makes it very distinct. The Red Skull's probably one of the more compelling villains, at least like aesthetically, in the MCU. It's got a really good supporting cast. I think the one weak point of the film is that they don't really set up the Bucky thing as well as they could have, considering how important he ends up being in the overall trilogy. But even still, it sets up a really strong relationship with Peggy. It sets up a really strong relationship just with like the entire supporting cast, essentially, which they never overshadow like Steve Rogers, but it just makes him a more interesting character. I could just gush about this film. I think it's so good, so underrated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm missing anything. The music's great. I mean, I don't know if that counts as making it a good origin film, but it is.
I mean, it adds to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it does what the rest of it was sort of like the most important, I guess, piece of connective tissue in the entire first phase, because it almost directly leads into the Avengers, in that like you have Cap going to the future and all that, and something like that could have been really jarring, I think, because like you're pretty much setting up a new plot point at the very end of the film, and that could come across as really cheap. But it sort of ties into Cap's story so well because of that whole because Peggy is his anchor. I don't know. I just think that could have come off really lame, and it didn't. I mean, yeah. So, guys, please interject, because I'm running out of things to say.
Yeah,
no.
Griffin, how about you go next? What's your origin?
Well, I have a feeling that Tyler and I are going to end up tag teaming on this one. But what I do want to say regarding the first Avenger is that I almost went with it. And for the longest time, it was my favorite origin film for exactly the reasons you said. So I really cannot debate you too much, because I borderline agree with you. However, there was a film that came out in phase 2 that took me by surprise.
Oh, no.
I am absolutely in love with it, and I know Tyler feels the exact same way. So Tyler, I want you to jump in this argument with me so we can fight Brody in this debate.
Ooh,
I'm asking you to join me.
We got a Bucky and
this.
Captain America versus Iron Man situation right here.
Exactly, because I know we have the same
Captain
one.
America. I'm Captain America. I'm defending Cap.
It doesn't matter, not in this debate. And Tyler, the unanimous answer for the best origin film is...
We're talking Thor. No, I'm
Ant-Man.
kidding. Ant-Man.
Yes.
Oh, wow, great.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah. Which is, this is what I'll say about Ant-Man. I used to be a big Ant-Man hater. I rewatched it recently, and I actually really liked it. I think it's a really good movie. It's to me, the reason I like it so much is because it's, out of every MCU movie, it's the one that almost doesn't even feel like an MCU movie.
Yeah.
The weakest part of the movie to me is the villain. I think the villain's really, really bad. I like, is it Yellow Jacket?
Yellow Jacket.
I like the villain. I just don't like the guy who plays the villain.
Really?
I think that was a...
I thought Corey Stoll did a good job.
Yeah.
I almost feel the opposite. I think I like Corey Stoll, but
that's
hate
how
the
I
villain.
feel too.
I don't like Corey Stoll as the part. I think they should... He just wasn't threatening to me. I didn't think I didn't feel any of that, but yeah, dude, I had a blast with this movie. I think it's... What do you think?
No, I completely agree with you. When I went into this film, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I really liked the trailers, but I was like, okay, this movie's been through a lot of production turmoil. Edgar Wright was supposed to make this film, and then he kind of got, nixed, and then they brought in Peyton Reed, the guy who did Yes Man. I love Yes Man. It's not the best film, but it's just kind of like a weird pick for a guy to direct a Marvel film. He comes in here, and holy crap, yeah, I mean, just like what you said, Tyler, this movie is a breath of fresh air. It's like, everyone says this, but it's the truth. It's on a smaller scale. There's no world-ending stakes involved. It's literally just like a heist caper film, and the guy just so happens
to be Ant-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it plays into that niche wholeheartedly, from the music that gives you the feel. It's got a little bit of an Ocean's feel going on there, from the supporting cast with Michael Pena. We've got T.I. in there. Everyone around him is just such an enjoyable presence. And then we have Paul Rudd. I mean, who would have thought that Paul Rudd would be able to be the leading superhero in a film? I mean, it's just mind-blowing, because on paper, you think about it and you're like, oh, he's great, he's a funny guy, but can he pull off does he have the chops to be the lead in a superhero film? And he knocks it out of the park. I think he's a very relatable character. You're able to latch on to him in his journey, in his whole relationship with his daughter is played out quite well. But overall, the movie is just a lot of fun. It's self-contained to an extent. I mean, there's that one sequence where he's fighting Falcon, which I think was a nice nod to, the universe and everything, and it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, and that kind of shows, it also, to that part, it shows, not only Peyton Reed's ability, but the writers are great, like Adam McKay and
I agree.
Paul Rudd. Yeah. It shows they were able to kind of balance the genre, the heist genre, and the Marvel comedic stuff. It was a nice,
for sure. And that's the one thing. I think this movie is funny, but it's not nothing is misplaced about this film. The film goes in and you're expecting it to be no. I don't think any of it's misplaced in this. It's pretty well utilized humor.
Hey, you guys are forgetting to talk about Thomas the Tank Engine.
I was about to bring that up. The action set pieces are so brilliant because it's on a smaller scale. That macro photography. Okay, the train one, dude. The when they're fighting in the suitcase and then he's jumping off of the cell phone. I mean, that's just brilliant.
But yes, I was just gonna interject real quick. I think the thing is with Ant-Man. I mean, I don't personally like Ant-Man that much, but I'll set that aside and just sort of evaluate.
All right, you might lose this debate now.
I don't know about that, but the thing is, with in terms of as an origin movie, I don't know if, at least compared to Captain America, I don't know if it's that. It presents a compelling enough a sort of character. I think for me personally, the most compelling characters in Ant-Man are not Scott. What's his name?
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
No. I think Hank Pym and his relationship with his daughter is far more interesting, and
it's a nice side
relegated
arc
to being a side story in the movie, just because he's not the protagonist. But whereas with Captain America, I feel like the story is so hyper-focused on creating an origin for this character who becomes so important in the MCU that I think as an origin film, it functions a little more cohesively. Because I think Ant-Man, I'll put aside my personal feelings towards the movie, it is still a well, competently made movie, but I don't know as an origin movie if it's anything to write home about. It's basically the Iron Man formula, but with Ant-Man. And
I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, well, you got a guy who's got to, he's got to fight another guy.
Yeah, I mean, okay, he's got a technologically advanced suit.
Got, it's a company, and you just, instead of Hank Pym being the Iron Man character, imagine Tony Stark's an old man who hires a young thief. That's basically.
See, but I like that though. There's a nice dynamic there.
It's not saying it's bad.
It's not just an origin film for Scott Lang. It's an origin film for the character, because we have Hank Pym, who has worn the suit before, and we're getting that arc, and it looks like that'll probably be developed a little bit more in the sequel.
Because his wife.
Yeah, right, and his wife and all that stuff. And then we've got the origin film of our main hero, Scott Lang, who is in the shoes.
I don't know if that makes it a more compelling origin story, just because there's all this extra stuff going on.
Well, I think everything that is. I mean, needs.
If anything, you just gotta I don't know. People were keen to see an Iron Man. I mean, people are keen to see the next Ant-Man movie. People are keen to see all these movies, but what the building blocks that the first Avenger created as an origin film to establish Captain America sort of made people hungry for more of this character.
5 minutes left. 5 minutes left.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, people were so enamored with this character that
Tyler, jump in here.
We're dying to see more. But with Ant-Man, it's kind of like, oh, he showed up in Civil War. People thought that was funny, but then no one was mad when he didn't go for the rest of the movie. You know what I mean? Like he's just kind of there.
But that movie wasn't about him. Like that.
Well, no, it's not. I know it's not. But I'm just saying, like in terms of like establishing a character that people are hungry to see more of, people are invested in.
He was one of the best parts of Civil War. Almost everyone agrees with that.
He was a moment in Civil War though, and it wasn't so much because of his character. It was because he did something cool with his powers.
Completely disagree. It was his humor in that. Tyler, you got to jump in here and help me out.
Yeah, I think Captain America establishes the tone really nicely for the Avengers, but after that, I mean, for me personally, the jump from the first Avenger to the Winter Soldier is so drastically different that I don't know. I don't think the first Avenger is that good of a movie. I think, but
it's by proxy. The jump is by proxy of the Avengers. You have to because the Avengers sort of embellishes on the themes of like being a fish out of water, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the Ant-Man sequel yet, obviously, but it seems to be like this is going to be more consistent with the first one.
But right, but
like story wise,
consistently, I don't think consistency is necessarily. I don't think that's something to hold against First Avenger as an origin film, because as an origin film, it just sort of is there to establish the character, which I think it does. I think Cap, no matter how his films change, like genre wise, Cap is consistent as a character because it was so firmly established in the first film that this is who he is. He's a Boy Scout, and that's cool. Like we're not going to shy like in the same way that like something like Man of Steel sort of shies away from the Boy Scout aspects of its protagonist. They sort of just said with First Avenger, you know what? Yeah, he's a goody two shoes, but here's why that's cool. Here's why that's aspirational. And even in something like Winter Soldier, where the story is much darker, or like and not even darker, but like just morally gray, you've still got this sort of moral righteousness. Because it was so well established in the first film, whereas like with Ant-Man, other than Ant-Man being funny and caring about his daughter, what can you tell me about like Scott Lang as a character that's like really?
Well, he's a character.
I think he's actually more. I'm not going to try to argue that Steve Rogers is not relatable. I mean, he is. I mean, but I think Scott Lang is more so just because he's just kind of an everyday guy thrown into this thing, and you can see him throughout the movies. Like, oh, look, I can't remember what he says, but he's like, oh, look at you. You've got a shield, blah, blah, blah. Like, during the Civil War fight, he's just kind of like, wow, I'm really in this. Like, he's just kind of thrown into this.
Yeah, he's a normal, everyday guy, and at face value, he's someone who should be unredeemable because he's a criminal. He's someone that you shouldn't
kind of like. A Walter White type thing.
Yeah, exactly. And
so,
like,
I don't know if the movie
they were able to take a criminal, humanize him, and explain why he's doing these things. He's just a guy who's kind of lost his way. Add humanity to him, sympathy.
All right, so I'm going to stop you guys right there. There's a 2-minute warning right here. I want each person for 30 seconds. Starting with Tyler, to talk about why their movie's the best. And then that'll be it. So, Tyler, you go first for 30 seconds, then I'll cut you off.
Okay. Go now?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So, Ant-Man is the best origin story because you get this everyday guy who's a criminal. I mean, I guess he is an everyday guy, but he is essentially an anti-hero who is humanized because if you remember, I mean, he's like in prison at the very beginning of the movie. That's like where we get our first glimpse of this guy who just gets kind of thrown into this Avengers thing. And to me, that's it's not really like fish out of water, but it's to me that makes him more relatable. And I think that his story is going to be more consistent down the road, aside from First Avenger.
Awesome. All right, Griffin. Now you.
Give me 1 second. Hold on.
I have to collect my thoughts. Yeah.
So the reason why I think Ant-Man slightly edges out the first Avenger, and I adore the first Avenger, is because I think on the whole it's a better made film. I think the first Avenger kind of montages through the most interesting parts of the film, which is the war and his interactions with his team. And I kind of like I love the movie, like I adore it, but like that is the biggest problem with the film. With Ant-Man, we get a hero here who is human. He's your everyday guy, like what Tyler said. They do something different. They take it down on a smaller scale, both literally and figuratively. They create a heist film, which is something that we haven't seen before. It's got like a little bit of an Ocean's feel to it, and when they're actually like carrying out the heist, you're like along for the ride. You're locked in. They use some great camera techniques.
All right, I'm gonna cut you off there. 30 seconds up. All right, Brody, yours.
All right. Yeah. So basically, I'll just say like I think the first Avenger is a more cohesive origin story because it montages over some of the action stuff, but that's not really the point of the movie. The point of the movie is about this good guy who is then suddenly granted like unimaginable power and what he does with that power and how he deals with it. And I think that's why the montages don't bother me. That's why that sort of stuff doesn't bother me, because it's about the character, and the movie is so rooted in the character that I give a shit where his story goes almost immediately. Whereas I don't know, it just whereas with Ant-Man it's kind of just another story with another disposable character who isn't bad. It just
all right,
it doesn't.
And I'm gonna cut you there, man.
Now.
All right, so that's tough because. So right now, Griffin, are you and Tyler like teamed together? Like, would you guys both get points, or how is this? How do you want me to grade you guys? Because
that's up to you. You're the judge of this round, so you can do it either.
So right now, this is tough for me because I was really waiting for someone to say the montage sequence about Captain America, because that's actually my least favorite thing about that film is how it montages through a lot of that, and I think it would have developed his character a little bit more. But then Brody did mention that like that's not the point of the movie.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about the best origin film and like who furthers the character the most, I have to go with Brody's.
Yes.
Just for the fact that he actually did fight that back, and I'd never actually thought of the montage sequence like that. Yeah. Griffin, right when you said that, I actually had you winning, but the second he fought back against that, it made me think more.
No, I agree with you. I think his rebuttal was like the perfect 30 seconds to cap it off. He was
debate class served me well.
I gave him the ammunition, damn it. I should get half a point.
Hey, unpopular opinion, Marvel doesn't have a good origin story at all.
Oh! Why didn't you lead with that
Tyler.
one?
You should have went with that. You should have gone balls to the wall.
You should have gone Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, but so Brody gets the first point.
All right, wow.
Yeah,
well done,
once
Brody.
he rebutted that, it really made me think more about it, so.
Damn.
Even though I like Ant-Man more. But he fought back
we got an Ant-Man posse here. Hell yeah.
Oh god. I cannot even describe my sort of disinterest or just sort of.
My god.
It's not even hate. It's just sort of disinterest with that movie. I don't know. Maybe I have to watch it again.
You do have to watch it again. All right. Well, I guess so. Round 1, Brody takes the point. All right, moving on to round 2, and Brody is out of the game. You can't fight us anymore. You are judging. All right. So this is going to be the best phase in the MCU.
Oh man!
So Brody, you are the judge, so you will kind of be in charge of leading this whole thing. So
how exciting! How fun!
This is fun.
So
you have a timer. By the way, I think we should do what Zach just did. Give us a 5-minute mark and then give us each 30 seconds at the end to just close out our last point.
I agree with that. I think that's a good formula.
Sweet.
Much like Marvel, we found a good formula and we're going to stick
Oh my god.
We planned it out.
Exactly. That's it. We're 5 podcasts in the future already.
With 20 in thought.
You guys know the question. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Start. Yeah.
All right, so for me,
wait, Brody, do you got your timer out?
Yep, time has started. I can start.
All right, awesome. All right, I'm gonna go. All right, best phase in the MCU is Phase 3. I really think this is easily the best phase. I went back and forth between Phase 3 and Phase 2 for a while, but I'm gonna leave Avengers Infinity War out of this.
Besides Zach has seen that film. That's right.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna bring that into discussion because it's very unfair, and I don't want to bring spoilers into this. But Phase 3 in general, just before Avengers Infinity War, I still would have said it's the best. I think this phase contains a lot of the films that have taken the most risks, especially 2 of them in comparison have taken the most risk for me. But just looking at this, I feel like Phase 3 is the one that really everything came together. Captain America Civil War, to me, is... Winter Soldier is the better film, but Civil War, for me, was the more dynamic film that I felt like carried a lot more weight to it, especially choosing whose side to go through. You had Doctor Strange, who opened up a different realm, literally, into the MCU, and just showed us this different aspect of the MCU that we haven't gone to yet. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, it's probably the weakest out of all of them, but still, it's a fun adventure, and it does something different that I feel like a lot of people weren't expecting from the sequel, which was to split our team up and take them all on their different journeys, besides Drax and Mantis. Whatever, that's different. Then you get Spider-Man back into the Marvel Universe. Finally, Spider-Man Homecoming comes out, which for me is actually my favorite Spider-Man film. I know we can argue about that, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, but I think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. I just think that whole you got everything you wanted there. Then you come back with Thor Ragnarok, which Thor Ragnarok burst in, and for me, they just rebooted the whole Thor franchise. I was never into the Thor character before, and even though Thor Ragnarok I don't think is the best film ever, it is an entertaining film, but you get more aspects to Thor, and in some senses it can be the darkest Marvel film if you take out a lot of the humor and really look at it as a different aspect of how much he lost and how much the Asgardians lost, and really just all that. And then you go to Black Panther. And for me, Black Panther is easily one of the best MCU films. I know some people call it underrated, some people call it overrated. Whatever you want to say, I think Black Panther is one of the best films in the MCU for a lot of the reasons of what Ryan Coogler did with it, the mythology building into Wakanda, how it all mixed in within the story, and the fact that all the side characters in Black Panther are awesome. I think almost all the side characters in Phase 3 really worked. There was always one big standout. You know, Doctor Strange, you had Wong and per se the Ancient One. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, it moved Yondu up into a better supporting role. Spider-Man Homecoming, you had Ned, who is like literally the best friend you could ever want. And Thor Ragnarok, you introduced Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie. And if you want to talk about Korg's Korg, you know. And then Black Panther, though, you get Eric Killmonger, who's arguably one of the best villains in the MCU. Plus, add in, you have the 3 leading women in here who are just all kick ass. And that just adds more to why Phase 3 really is the best MCU thing. It just brought a lot together. And then, I mean, you just look at Avengers Infinity War. It's all the 10 years combined. And then Ant-Man and the Wasp coming down the road, and Captain Marvel, the first female-centric superhero film in the MCU. It's adding a bunch of different layers for me.
Not to poke holes in your argument, because I agree with you, but is Captain Marvel actually part of Phase 3, or is that Phase 4?
It's Phase 3 because it takes place right before Avengers 4. So
Phase 3 has like a ton of movies in it.
Yeah,
okay.
Phase 4 starts with Spider-Man Homecoming 2.
Embarrassment of riches.
Right, yeah. Okay, all right. Who's next? You want me to go next because I just chimed in, or what?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, all right. Well, I agree with you. It is Phase 3, but I'm going to break it down like this. So I looked at several things when I was going back and evaluating the phases. The most important thing to me was consistency. So let's take a look at Phase 1 here. We've got Iron Man 1, which knocks it out of the park. We have The Incredible Hulk, which I really enjoy, but on the whole is most people's least favorite. We've got Iron Man 2, which no one really gives a shit about. We've got
fun.
Thor, which is kind of like, you know, some people really like it, some people think it's okay, some people don't like it. So kind of, you know, it's a successful mixed bag, I'll call it. And then we have Captain America, the First Avenger. I think that one was predominantly positively received, but still, you've got people who are like, oh, it's boring, oh, they montage through the war, oh, this, and that.
Even though it was your argument just before.
I know, literally just taking the argument. But and then we get to the Avengers, which is the culmination of everything. It's unlike anything we've ever seen before. And it knocks it out of the park. So for me, even though Phase 1 is incredible and we wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for Phase 1, on retrospect, I think it's a little inconsistent. And some of the movies rank low on the list. So then we take a look at Phase 2. Phase 2, I think, is probably my least favorite phase, which is weird. Because
it's the best one.
Well, we'll get to that in a
Tyler.
second. Right, he's coming in. So here's the thing about Phase 2. The highs are really fucking high. The lows are really low.
I agree with that.
And that's why Phase 2 it doesn't work. You know, Iron Man 3, I understand that most of you guys like it, but like it is a polarizing film, and it's my least favorite film in the MCU. Thor the Dark World. Thor the Dark World is just let's just call it like this. It's just not a good movie. And then we've got and then so those are the weakest links for sure. But then we get Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which completely changes the game. That skyrockets to the top of everyone's MCU rankings. And then we get Guardians of the Galaxy, which blows everyone away. Like, yeah, everyone's just like, what the hell, Guardians of the Galaxy? Who is this? So we got 2 really solid films. We got 2 fairly weak films, in my opinion. And then we get to Age of Ultron, in which I think everyone can agree that was a colossal disappointment. And so we'll chop that over into the negative category. So we've got 3 negatives, 2 positives. Like I said, highs really high, lows really low. So that doesn't really work. Then we get to Phase 3. Every single film in Phase 3, for me, except for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I do not care for, but I can appreciate a lot of the stuff that they did in that film, especially the second half of it, where it truly becomes fantastic, which the first half was more in line with that. Phase 3 is the most consistent phase Marvel has had yet. every single film has been a success, both in wide audiences and critically. You look at, I will throw this in here, not that it really matters, but you look at the Rotten Tomato scores for all of them, and there's some of the highest that we have seen in the MCU thus far. And just taking away Rotten Tomatoes, the reviews in general are some of the highest we've seen in the MCU thus far. If you ask people what their favorite MCU film, a lot of people will say Civil War. Most recently, people are saying Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok. And from what I'm hearing of Infinity War, it's looking like it'll probably be the best one too.
It's up there. It's up there.
Exactly. So that's the thing. Phase 3 is so consistent, but it also tries new things. We see different types of story arcs there. We see Thor Ragnarok. It completely reboots the Thor franchise. It goes into wacky places. I have issues with Ragnarok. I think the comedy gets in the way of a lot of the more emotional moments, but there is no way you can look at that movie and be like, it's not stylized. It doesn't feel like Taika Waititi. They don't completely, reinvent the character of Thor. So like they tried new things there. We get Spider-Man Homecoming, a reboot of Spider-Man, which everyone's like, oh, we're tired of Spider-Man, but it brought him back to life because Homecoming was phenomenal. We've got Civil War, which at its heart is a Captain America film, but it's also kind of like Avengers 2.5, and so we're setting the stakes here for what's going to happen in the Avengers film. I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but my God, does that film like take a lot of chances in what it does.
Look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the way that it has that father-son aspect, that was the best thing about that film.
Agreed, absolutely.
I love that movie. It's
it was
really
a personal
good.
story. And then the other thing that I love about, I actually mentioned it, Doctor Strange, like you said, opens a whole new realm that we are not aware of, the magical realm, and does so in a really, really solid way. The other thing that I love about Phase 3 is it introduces new heroes. We get Black Panther, we get Spider-Man, we get Doctor Strange, we get
Mantis.
We get so many supporting characters as well, and so Phase 3 for me is the phase that really expands the MCU. It opens it up to a whole new realm, and for me, it just, as of right now, I mean, obviously we still have Ant-Man and the Wasp, and we still have Captain Marvel, and obviously Avengers Infinity War. But from what I'm hearing, that's looking like it's going to be really good. Even if those two films suck, even if those two films suck, Phase 3 is still the best phase because of just the quality of work they're throwing out there.
All right, good luck, Tyler.
All right, Tyler, go for it.
Well, y'all are all wrong. Phase 2 is the best Marvel phase. Clearly, I think we can clearly agree it's not Phase 1. Phase 1 is garbage.
They were finding their feet. That's what they were trying to do.
Look, Phase 1, you're right. They were finding their feet. They were testing to see what worked, and they were like, oh, guess what? I guess people will actually come and watch these movies. Phase 2 is where Marvel started letting directors actually direct the movie, and you can see the director's voice in the movie.
Except for Thor: The Dark World.
We're not going to talk about that. Starting off with, actually, my only defense of Thor: The Dark World is like, that movie went into production so quickly after the Avengers that I think that they...
Well, it was a dark film.
They're still playing it safe, but Iron Man 3 ended up coming out right before it. And, I mean, like you said, Griff, I mean, this is the most controversial Marvel movie, but for a reason. It's because, it doesn't even feel like a Marvel movie. Shane Black essentially came in and did whatever he wanted.
But it doesn't even feel like an Iron Man film.
It's a Tony Stark film.
You do. Yeah, you get. There's more depth to the character.
No, I mean, we're debating it, so I can't really go side with Iron Man 3 this time. So yeah, Iron Man 3, it's not an MCU film. We're talking best phase in the MCU.
Yeah, well, you get the most in this one. You get the most depth from not only Iron Man, but more importantly, Pepper Potts, who goes through a lot in this movie. And that relationship, I mean, that's more relationship development. There's more relationship development in Iron Man 3 than there is in any other Marvel movie. I mean, there's just no arguing against it. You get to see her go through hell, and she literally, and she comes out the dark side. And then I could talk about Iron Man 3 forever. It's so good. Thor: The Dark World, like I said, it sucks. But
I'm glad we can all agree on that.
Yeah, after Thor: The Dark World, you got Captain America: The Winter Soldier. To me, the best MCU movie. You don't get Captain America: Civil War, Infinity War, or anything else unless the Winter Soldier happens with the Russo brothers. You just don't get it. I mean, because of them, you get all of the cool things in Phase 3 because Marvel let them do whatever they wanted. Totally shocking. Then after that, it was Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, James Gunn. That's totally a James Gunn movie, and you get someone like Chris Pratt as the lead of a movie who was known from Parks and Rec, the TV guy, coming in and leading a Marvel movie. Yeah, Andy Dwyer, who's great. But Yep, the chubby guy from Parks and Rec leads this movie, which is a huge shocker, not only because it was a good movie, but Chris Pratt could actually lead the movie, and now he's
one of the most
famous characters ever. Age of Ultron, I know that one is not widely beloved, but to me, I think it's way better than the first Avengers because it's a much more mature movie. Obviously darker in tone, but you get to see more.
You get to see a lot more of Thor naked in a bathtub,
which is why it's better. No, I'm kidding. But yes, and then obviously Ant-Man to me, which is like the best.
Oh crap! I forgot Ant-Man. Yeah,
which is to me, Griffin and I, agreed. It's the best. To me, it's the best origin story just because.
It's really weird because I don't even consider Ant-Man to be part of Phase 2 because it's like it came out right after Avengers: Age of Ultron. I almost group it into Phase 3.
Well, it always feels like Ant-Man comes out like after all the big event films. So right after Avengers Infinity War, we get Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's like a nice settling down of the things. But
it's a palate cleanser because it's a breath of fresh air.
It is a breath.
Yeah, but
that's the thing. You go into Phase 3 after Ant-Man, and then look at it. You got Captain America: Civil War blasting us into projection with everything else that just came together. Yeah, Phase 2, it was just a stepping stone.
You're right.
But Phase 2 sets the stage. None of that from Phase 2. You don't get Thor Ragnarok because Guardians of the Galaxy introduced like this weird psychedelic world with awesome soundtrack, which Thor Ragnarok copied using the Immigrant song. And then,
cool.
the Winter Soldier, you get Bucky, who is also the center of focus in Civil War. But I mean, Winter Soldier arguably has like the best villain of all time, which Marvel has always had a villain problem. Now I haven't seen Infinity War.
Who are you referring to as the villain? Alexander Pierce or the Winter Soldier?
The Winter Soldier.
No.
Okay, but I would argue that he's not the true villain of the film. Hydra is the true villain of that film.
I wouldn't even argue that's the best villain. I'd still say Phase 3 has the best villain. I'm not talking about Infinity War because that's unfair, but Black Panther with
Phase 3 is where Marvel really started to learn from their criticisms, I think. Now, granted,
we have to wrap these up real quick because then we get to the 30-second.
Okay.
So just finish the conversation, and then we'll just get to that.
Granted, I will say that there are moments in Doctor Strange where the humor undercuts the emotional moments. There are moments in Thor Ragnarok where it does that, but I think that that's a trait of MCU films in general because we see that begin in, unfortunately, Phase 2. So if it wasn't for Phase 2, starting with the stupid humor stuff, then we wouldn't be getting it in Phase 3. But anyways, all I want to say is that Phase 3 took what was good about Phase 2 and applied it to their films, but then dialed it up a notch.
Griffin, I'll stop you there. We'll just make that part of you want to start that again and just do that as part of your 30-second thing because it seems like you're summating your point.
Yeah.
So we'll start with Griffin. You got 30 seconds. Go for it.
Okay, so the reason why Phase 3 is the best is because Phase 3 took everything that was good about Phase 2, applied it, but then dialed it up a notch. I mean, there's more originality in the stuff there. They went bolder in some regards. And I think just when you're looking at best phase, you're talking about from a qualitative like quality, the quality of the movies. And I think that Phase 2 is too uneven. Phase 1 is also, kind of a mixed bag. Phase 3, every single film across the board is, for the most part, a good movie. It's consistent.
All right, there you go. Tyler, you want to go now?
Yeah, you're right, but you don't get Phase 3 without Phase 2. Phase 2 literally laid the foundation, and it's just them kind of picking things from Phase 2. Like I said, and it's the first time. This is where Marvel started to let directors come in. And they were like, we're going to give you control. You can do whatever you want. They took the most chances in Phase 2. Shane Black's Iron Man 3. James Gunn's Guardian of the Galaxy. The Russo brothers, which is just extremely weird to think about. The Arrested Development guys coming in and doing the Winter Soldier. You don't get Civil War or Infinity War, which is supposed to be awesome.
All right, Tyler, that's you.
Okay.
And Zach, go for it.
All right, so you're saying that you can't build upon with Phase 2, then technically we should all be arguing for Phase 1, because Phase 1 started the whole thing. We're arguing about Phase 3, and the thing about Phase 3 is that, so I actually look at Phase 3, and I say Phase 3 is actually where they started letting the directors do what they want. You see James Gunn got total control of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which is kind of the reason that people don't like it as much. I feel like he took too many more risks. You look at Thor Ragnarok, Taika Waititi literally got to make whatever the fuck he wanted to. He made a psychedelic trip. Black Panther, that is Ryan Coogler's film. But Marvel, if you put that in Phase 1, they would have never let him do half the stuff he did in that film.
That's you. 30 seconds is a real
That's
bitch.
quick. That's so fast.
That is
that
is a fucking bitch. Because it's like I started my argument and I wanted to make the points that Zach was making, but then I didn't get to it, and then Zach made the points that I wanted to make.
That's that is the unfair advantage if you have like a team up going on. It's it's quite interesting. So okay, so I guess now time to the verdict.
Yeah.
But okay, this is tough because I typically I think I agree with Tyler, like, personally, just because that's like I think Phase 2 is my favorite, just because I don't mind the consistency. I think it's worth having high highs. It's worth having low lows to have those high highs. But in terms of like argument, I think at the very end there, like, pretty much, I think Zach pretty much convinced me at the very last second, which is ironic because I convinced you at the last second. But when you were talking about the directors having more control in Phase 3, which I think is that's kind of like the trade-off. I think Feige had more control with Phase 2. And it's more a lot of world building, whereas Phase 3 just gets to sort of just, do whatever you want, just sort of like because they're doing Phase 1 type movies with all these origin movies, but like in Phase 3 with all the money and the clout that they have. So I think in terms of that, I have to go with Phase 3 just because, and you also touched on the villains, which I think definitely improved. You've got Ego and Vulture and what's his name? Killmonger, who probably the best that they've done, at least in my mind.
There's no argument against that.
I'd even throw in Zemo's an underrated villain. I liked Zemo from Civil War.
Yeah.
I didn't love Zemo, but again, that wasn't really I feel like Tony Stark was more of the villain in that movie. Personally, but again, that's like just my own thoughts. But yeah, so I don't know how I do this because Griffin and Zach both argued for the same phase.
Well, do you want to just give Zach the point, or do you want to give both of us the point?
I say we both get it.
Okay, there you go.
What do you think, Brody? Do you think we both get it?
Yeah, sure.
Did we both earn it? Did we both earn it?
You both argue. You both. I mean, it's kind of unfair because you both got to like sort of volley points, and poor Tyler's on his own there, like trying to scrape together an argument. Which,
I was being tag teamed, man.
It was like being tag team, man. They were like either side, just a full barrage. But
all right, so we both get the point then.
Sweet.
Sure, you can split them. How about, does that work? No. Okay, it's
0.5 of points. I don't think we can do that.
Okay, I thought it was 5 points, and I thought we were gonna give like 2.5.
No, it's just 1 point.
Both get 1 point. There you go.
All right. Those are Brody's rules. This was his segment, so he made the judgment.
They're not my rules.
It's okay if the comment section is like, well, that's bullshit. Zach won the argument. Then you can come and blame Brody. So, all right. So Brody's got 1 point. I've got 1 point. Zach's got 1 point. Tyler, you better come back with a miracle or something.
I'm so sorry.
I lost.
Hey. We are only halfway done, ladies and gentlemen, because we're moving on to segment 3, and I'm the judge this time.
I'm gonna lose this segment.
Brody, get ready to eat shit. All right, so the topic for segment 3 is going to be the MCU film that took the most risks. Yeah. So this is a very, very open, for debate topic. So I'm really curious as to what everyone's going to say. I'm going to get my timer out, and who wants to volunteer?
Ooh, no one.
No one? No one?
I gotta catch my breath for a second.
Yeah, I kind of want to hear what everyone else says.
Right. I know, right? Yeah, I'm waiting for like.
I gotta pick a movie.
Well, let's. Who started the origin story one? Did Tyler go first, or did you go first, Brody? Okay, so Zach started last. So Tyler, unfortunately, you are going to go first.
And I gotta think.
Wow, this man came unprepared.
No, it's just there's a few. There's a few.
The Last Jedi.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Well, yeah.
Great. Now the comment section of this video is going to be a flame war about a film that's not even relevant.
Yeah, we should talk about the DCU. That'll be a fucking flame war.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, Tyler.
I think I'm gonna go Iron Man 3.
Okay, that's your choice. Okay,
yeah,
your argument starts now.
So, Iron Man 1 and 2 are both directed by Jon Favreau. And they're essentially kind of the same movie. I think 2 is a weird choice. I think 2 is slightly better than the first one. But 3, again, at beginning of phase 2, which, that means the best phase, this is where Marvel started to, take chances, and they let Shane Black come in and pretty much essentially kind of rewrite the character in a way, kind of similar to Thor Ragnarok, but they go against a lot that is set up in the first 2 Iron Man movies, like the whole what's the thing called in his chest?
The
arc reactor.
Yeah, like they go completely against that. Like Shane Black pretty much just completely throws that out the window, which made a lot of people mad. But I like it a lot. I like that a lot. I think that it is in a way. Zach did make a Last Jedi joke, but I was talking with Griffin about this. In a way, it kind of is Shane Black coming in and saying, like, okay, you think the Iron Man movie is going to go this way. You've seen all of these movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far, but no, I'm going to do it my way. You thought it was going to go this way. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to make my own movie. You know, go completely against all of that. And that's all I got for the opening.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll go next.
Go for it.
Next.
All right, Zach,
All right,
you go.
so for me, the film that the MCU took the most risks on, I mean, there's quite a few, but
Yeah.
I would honestly go to say, I'm going between 2 of them, but I'm gonna go and say Guardians of the Galaxy. But it's one of the best films. For me, it's my favorite MCU film. But the reason I put Guardians of the Galaxy in there is because when the movie was about to come out, I mean, I knew who the Guardians were. Like, weirdly, that's one of the few comics I read through the Marvel Universe growing up. But when it was coming out, I told people about it. I told them, like, what's in the film. And I remember my friend, who's a hardcore Marvel fan, literally turned to me and said, that's the stupidest idea. A stupid talking raccoon and a talking tree. Are you fucking kidding me? And then Chris Pratt joining in and stuff. And I'm like, no, this is going to be, like, genius. It has James Gunn. Everyone's like, you're stupid. But you got to look at this is that James Gunn had made Slither before, and no one really knew who Slither was. Slither's a cool movie. I dig that movie, but no one knew who it was. And Guardians of the Galaxy just came out, stomped out, and a film that, you know, we look at Avengers where you had to build up a couple characters to show us and get us to care about them. Guardians of the Galaxy, you get to care about each and every one of the characters in that first film. You get to know a little bit about Gamora, Drax, Star-Lord, Rocket, and even Groot, and you get to care about each and every one of them. And it just always projected them to be that. I even would contend that Ronan, he's not the best villain in the MCU, but he does what he's supposed to do. It took the risk with a fight scene at the end with a dance off. To end your film, you're going to have a dance-off to kill the main villain, to get the Infinity Stone. That's something you don't see. And I mean, the music, the way that they put the music throughout the film, the way that James Gunn wrote it into the script, that's something we hadn't seen yet, at least in memory, that we haven't seen into a film yet. And I always look at Guardians of the Galaxy and think that is the riskiest film I think Marvel has put out. And just because most people don't want to go see a talking raccoon. But I did, and I'm glad other people showed up to go see it.
All right.
Okay.
All right, boys, you ready for the most risky film?
I know what you're going to
you gotta do
choose.
Ant-Man?
I know he's going to choose.
Oh, God. The risk was, can we make a movie about a boring character?
Fuck you. Fuck you.
No, but seriously, the most risky film in the MCU, and this, I don't know if this is a cop-out. I don't think it is. But it's the first Iron Man movie.
I knew you were going to fucking say that.
They said, okay, we're going to start a studio based on this crazy idea that we're going to make a whole universe based around our, B and C list characters. We're going to start with a C list. I'll be generous. He's a B list character. We're going to hire a famously not difficult to work with, but famously sort of troubled actor. We're going to make him the star. We're going to get a director of indie comedies in Jon Favreau. And he's going to make it without a script. We're going to improvise most of this thing. And we're going to put a post-credit scene at the end that basically sets up an entire series that we're going to have to sort of, because this is before the Disney deal, this is we're going to have to sort of share rights with this with Universal and Paramount. And so they sort of just they went balls to the wall and said, yeah, fuck it, we're going to do it. Even though all the pieces weren't quite in place yet. And then on top of that, you've got this film that is sort of, it goes almost against the grain of where the genre was going at the time. More so because this is coming straight off of, I won't compare it to The Dark Knight because that's the same year. They're probably in production concurrently. But Batman Begins was kind of this sort of moment for superhero movies where it's we're taking them seriously again and we're going to get actual auteur directors to make them and stuff like that. And to have to start your universe and say, no, we're actually going to do jokes and we're going to make this a comedy almost, And the action really isn't that important to the story at all, because that's one of the weaker elements of the first Iron Man movie, is that the action is kind of lame. But that's almost because that wasn't what the story was about. It wasn't really an action movie. It had like obligatory action scenes, but it was sort of this weird indie movie. I just think all of that is just so... Like, now, because we're 10 years out, it's like, okay, yeah, of course, that makes total sense. Like, Jon Favreau is a great director. He can definitely do big budget stuff. And Robert Downey Jr. is one of the most, profitable actors in the world. But back in 2008, when they were, developing this thing, that was insane. And to base your entire franchise off of that, to say, this is the starting point. We're not going to start with the Hulk, who's, the character that people actually know. We're going to start with Iron Man, because fuck it. That's insane. I just think that's the most ballsy thing, not just in the MCU, but just in filmmaking, but in terms of MCU. I think they've made creative risks going forward. I definitely agree that Guardians of the Galaxy is a creative risk just because of the concept is so strange, and I agree that Iron Man 3 is a risk just because you're getting such a distinct authorial voice in, but Iron Man is just I don't know, it's unbelievable.
But dude, in Iron Man 3, he doesn't even wear the armor half the movie. That's risky, dude.
Yeah, I mean, for a marketing point of view, when you look at Iron Man 3, it was a risk. So was Iron Man. The way they started the whole universe.
Yeah, Iron Man.
Technically, all of our films have taken a risk in some way or shape or form. I was looking at Iron Man 3, though. Iron Man 3, I feel like audience members like that film 100% more than hardcore comic book geeks. My grandma loves Iron Man 3. Why?
For sure.
Maybe it's because she sees Robert Downey Jr. more.
Took the risk of going against the Marvel lore that was already established.
I totally agree that those are risks. I just think you don't get to make those risks unless you have unless you take that first big risk.
And then people always talk about the Mandarin. That's a huge risk, and it did not pay off for a lot of Marvel fans. A majority of people hate it, but it was still a risk. That's the biggest risk I've seen any Marvel movie take. With the villain, of course, probably of all time, because that's nobody knew anything. Nobody expected that at all. It caused...
Well, and that's why I say Guardians is one of the bigger risks, too, is because it's a space opera film that really, if it doesn't have the word Star Wars in it, it's not going to make over $100 million. I like the new Star Trek films, but they're not gold mines into making money.
No, yeah.
You look at any other sci-fi movies or shows, they're not killing at the box office. When something's in space, it usually dies out unless it's Star Wars. But for some reason, Guardians of the Galaxy made over $80 million opening weekend. A lot of it has to go with the music that James Gunn convinced the studio to let him put in there. Given it has that flavor that everyone can relate to, it brings people of all ages to come and listen to, because people like that type of music. But like I said, a lot of the risk is bringing 5 brand new characters into the MCU, establishing this brand new universe that no one has ever seen in the MCU. No, from that point on, before then, it was very much grounded, I would say. The MCU was very grounded. We weren't going into space. We weren't seeing magic and wizards and stuff yet. No, we were grounded. We were on Earth most of the time. Besides Thor, because honestly, we all should have probably argued about Thor being the riskiest film in this whole universe. But Guardians is just a very risky film in general for the Marvel Universe to take, because if this film had sucked, if this film had not done well, we wouldn't have gotten other Guardians films down the road. Marvel probably could have just put it to the side, but people would have looked at that and been like, hey, that's Marvel's one big flop. Given none of Marvel's films have flopped. Everyone enjoys them to a certain extent. And I just look at Guardians of the Galaxy and I just look at it as if that film didn't work, what would Marvel have changed? Would this have been their Inhumans if it didn't have worked? Would they have just scrapped it completely, forgotten about it, and gotten rid of it? Or would it have projected them in a different direction? I feel like Guardians has really established a lot of this universe, because if you look at Guardians, it set up Thanos. In a lot of this is the first time we actually saw Thanos talking. This is the first time we get to know a little bit about Thanos's daughters, Nebula and Gamora. We get to know more about them. So if this film hadn't worked, how would Avengers Infinity War work? The film that they were building up for, all the way up there, because everything was a stepping stone till that film.
I know. Trust me, I absolutely agree. I think it was a huge
5-minute mark. You guys better start taking punches.
Well, the thing, I totally agree that it definitely blew up.
Fuck
the
Iron
universe,
Man.
right?
Fuck Iron Man 3.
but I don't think I think Guardians was while a risk conceptually. I think at that point Marvel had developed enough of a brand that you slap that on and it's like, okay, I don't really love this concept, or I don't get it, but I'll go see it because I've liked all their films. But with Iron Man, they didn't have a brand, first of all. I mean, Marvel was kind of like a thing people were aware of. And the last Marvel movie that came out, like not MCU obviously because this is the first MCU film, but Spider-Man 3, which people really didn't like that much. And so you sort of have like this, you're taking a risk, because that was like their most profitable character, and he just made like kind of a shitty movie. And then you're like, okay, here's a character you've never heard of from this random new studio, and we're gonna, because I think in the same way that the Guardians were unknown, for most of the general public, Iron Man was unknown. It's just a guy in a tin can suit. Like, people didn't really understand what he was yet.
Well, people like Buzz Lightyear, and he's in a plastic suit.
Oh, exactly. And I'm not saying that, like, people were turned off by the idea of him wearing an iron suit or anything like that. I'm just saying, because obviously people went and saw it. But I just mean, like, in terms of taking a risk, taking a character that no one had ever heard of and putting them in a huge blockbuster was kind of done first with Iron Man. Not that it makes it any less risky when they did it again with Guardians, but you know what I mean? It just, they had to take that initial risk, because you don't get the MCU at all unless you take that first risk and connect it all and just sort of say, you know what, we're going to do this. We're going to do a massive cinematic universe, even though there's no precedent for it. I just think that's, that you can't take further risks with Guardians or with Iron Man 3 unless you just you take that first plunge. And it was the first plunge that could have bankrupted not just the new studio, but it could have like sort of bankrupted Marvel Comics. So I just think that's a huge deal. And in terms of, because in terms of story, I don't think the story's it's not like, it's not conventional, but it's not super unconventional. But just in terms of like what the film represents, what the film was as a cultural artifact, it's unbelievably risky. But yeah, I do respect you guys' choices though. I do think there's definitely huge creative risks.
Oh yeah, no, and I agree. Yeah. I mean, for me, like I look at both of yours, and I do agree. Like both of them were risks. Iron Man 3 is a risk, especially a lot of it is a risk of what they decided to do with that film in general. And then you look at Iron Man, and Iron Man, I mean, just the whole story of how they built that film is a risk. I mean, so is Guardians. You know, pretty much everything Marvel has tried is a risk in some shape or form.
I mean,
you can make an argument. You can make an argument for any of their films, especially any film after Phase 1 and going forward. I mean, we could have made an argument about Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, you know, even Avengers. Avengers, like, how did they know people were going to show up to this? Like, yeah. I'm just saying, like, Thor wasn't mostly loved. Like, I like Thor. Captain America, people liked it, but I didn't, like, not everyone loved it. And the same with Incredible Hulk. It was very forgettable. And at this time, people weren't saying after the credits. Not everyone knew these films tied together until they saw the Avengers trailer and like, oh shit, I've seen all those films.
All right, it's time for you guys' closing thoughts. We got a minute 30 left, so Zach, I'm going to let you do your final closing thoughts.
All right, so again, Guardians of the Galaxy is the most risk film that MCU has created. Iron Man 3, it's really just risky in the way that they decide to tell the story. And Iron Man, it's just a risk of just making the film in general. But the thing about Guardians of the Galaxy is they had already accepted this brand, made this brand, and their audience is trusting them to make something different. You look at Guardians of the Galaxy, they made something super fucking weird and different, but it paid off in the end, and their audience, now I feel like after Guardians of the Galaxy, that's the film that audience went and said, hey, I can trust them with whatever they make. If they can make a talking raccoon work, they can work.
Brody, closing thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, just in every way, like conceptually, this is a risky idea just to build a cinematic universe off of a B-list character, to get the actors they chose, specifically Robert Downey Jr., to get the director they chose, who's famous for indie comedies, to financing this film as big as it was, to making it like not action-oriented. All of the decisions they made, and just the decision to make this film and this universe in general was a huge risk, and I don't think we fully appreciate that being 10 years out.
All right, Brody. Yeah. Okay. All right, Tyler, let's hear your closing
thoughts. I'm going to take my 30 seconds, part of it to say those are two great choices, like really, really good choices and really good arguments. You're right, Brody. Iron Man, that's a great pick. Establishes everything nicely in Phase 1. Jon Favreau went on to do Iron Man 2. Holy cow, they're letting Shane Black come in to direct the third movie in a series to begin Phase 2. They're going to actually let him do whatever he wants, and that, you know, is, like I said, for Phase 2, that's wherever directors started getting to actually direct the movie. The Mandarin.
All right, time. Tyler, I think you screwed yourself in that last one because you just praised the other two choices.
Yeah, I did. I know. They're great. I knew I lost when I started. I learned the difference between. I was talking why I liked the movie instead of why it was the riskiest.
I'm so sorry, but Tyler, I can't go with you because initially you had me, but like.
That's what's so hard about this debate, though,
it was a terrible argument.
It's hard to talk shit about other films that you like.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Tyler, I have to say you are mathematically eliminated from this competition.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
But guys, seriously, like Brody going with the first Iron Man, like. I knew you were gonna go outside the box on that one, but I thought you were actually gonna say like Guardians 2 or something like that, or even Iron Man 3. But no, that's a great point. The film that started the MCU, they didn't know it was gonna work. I mean, they had to. I mean, you're right. You taking a B-list character, an actor who was kind of like in like a rehabilitation stage, and it's just you're right. Like there was a lot of risk involved with that. Yeah, Zach did pick my personal choice, but I mean, just taking that out of it, I think all of you guys did a great job of debating. Zach made some great points about it's a fucking raccoon in a tree. This literally should not work on paper, but somehow James Gunn literally made it work. Man, this is tough. This is really, really hard. This is really hard. I think this is probably the best debate thus far, to be honest, because each of you had separate ones.
A different pick, yeah. It was good for variety.
It was. Yeah. It really was. I think I'm gonna go with Zach. Only because I think he just he gave his reason more punch a little bit. I mean, Brody, you are right. Iron Man was a risk, but just what Zach was saying about how if this film flopped, it would have been a serious chink in the MCU's armor. People would have maybe questioned their decisions going forward. And because now they have such a long track record of quality films, they can afford. Now is when they can afford a slight misstep, I guess you could say. But damn, that was really tough.
That was tough. I thought Brody had it. Picking Iron Man, once he said that, I was like, fuck. I was like, I should have picked Iron Man.
I wasn't a judge. I was like, God, I gotta debate. I have to actually argue for Iron Man 3.
Yeah. It's tough. Wait, Tyler, what would be your pick, Tyler?
They're both. See, at first I was like, man, Zach's right. Why did I not think of Guardians of the Galaxy? But then Brody, that was such an off the wall pick. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a really good debate. I cannot wait to see what Griffin picks.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know. For me, I would have said Guardians, but then that Iron Man, that's a really good argument because
it's a good argument for sure.
Because it's wow, starting it off with someone like that. I mean, the only Iron Man I knew up to that point was the Black Sabbath song. Right. I didn't even know who the character was. So I mean, they're both great arguments.
Yeah, I think it was just Zach just slightly edged you out. For me, but
coin flip.
All right, so the point board as it stands right now, Zach's got 2 points, I've got 1 point, Brody's got 1 point, and Tyler is mathematically eliminated. Should Zach not win the final round? Do we have a tie? We do have a bonus question that I have not released to the contestants.
Wait, okay, so. I do have a question for the best fights in the MCU.
Yes.
Are we allowed to pick Netflix shows?
Is that considered part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I would say it is, but it's up to you to let me if I'm allowed to pick one from there.
Well, this is Tyler's segment.
Yeah, so Tyler, it's up to you.
I have my viewpoints on it, but this is Tyler's segment.
Yeah, so Tyler, it's up to you. I have a backup one just in case.
Okay, yeah, I would like to keep it just movies if that's okay.
That's all
so
good.
That I know
what
the
okay. But can I say I was gonna pick the Punisher fight scene from Daredevil in the prison?
I've never
wow. See, if we were including TV, I think I'd pick that hallway fight scene. To be honest with you.
Oh, see, it was between both of those for TV, but okay, yeah, no, I'm good with picking a movie one.
Are you talking about the Daredevil one, right?
Yeah, season 1.
Yeah, and then I was picking the Punisher one when they're fighting in the prison when Kingpin sends all those guys.
Yeah. No, because when Griffin said hallway, I thought he meant Defenders hallway, and I was like,
oh no,
I nearly
no.
like threw up in my mouth.
I do like that fight scene. Come on, guys. All right, Tyler. So this is your segment, best fight in the MCU. Who's gonna start this?
Do we cut the time down, or oh wait, no, we're all debating. Never mind.
Yeah, we're all debating. Still 15 minutes.
Yeah. I'll let Griffin, you go first since you judged last.
Oh God, fucking hell! All right.
Actually, we'll do it this way. I'm thinking of everyone pick a number.
Done.
1
3.
through what?
Just 1 through 100.
Oh my god.
Oh my God. All right.
95.
Okay.
4.
8.
Griffin, go.
God damn it!
What was the number?
33.
Oh my God, this is the biggest BS. All right. The best fight in the MCU. So it's tricky because I look at it two ways. There are two fight scenes that come to mind. There is the bridge scene from the Winter Soldier, and there is Captain America and Bucky versus Tony Stark.
Yes.
And they are technically they are both the best in two respective ways. One is the best when in terms of emotional stakes and just like, character development and stuff like that. One is, technically speaking, the best fight scene in the MCU. And so, given that, I'm going to go with the best choreographed and the technically best fight scene in the MCU, and that is the bridge scene from the Winter Soldier. I think the best way I can go about talking about this one is just the first time I saw it. The first time, first of all, I was already like on the edge of my seat the entirety of this film, from the get-go. Like it's just this is a masterpiece of a film. But when we get to that bridge scene and we get to Bucky throwing Agent Sitwell out of the car, shit is gonna go down. You're like, fuck, he's ripped the steering wheel off of the car, he's thrown this Hydra agent up into the car, all bets are off. We have no idea what's gonna happen. And the way the Russo brothers chose to film this is it's so gritty. There's like a fast shutter speed. It's almost got like this, I mean, not to this extent, but in the same vein of like Saving Private Ryan, the way they shot it. And then we've got the guys from John Wick who are doing the fight choreography, and my God, does it show. Everything from the hand-to-hand combat in this sequence is mind-blowingly good. This whole sequence blew my mind the first time I saw it. We get to see how much of a threat the Winter Soldier is in this. We don't. Your average movie-going audience member doesn't know it's Bucky. We all know that it's Bucky because we're comic book fans. But still, the intensity and that just everything that's going on, and then. I'll get to the actual fight in a second, but at the end of it, when the mask is taking off and everyone's like, even though we already know that it's Bucky, it's just such a well-paced and choreographed scene with a huge payoff at the end. I mean, we've got the Black Widow running around for her life. I mean, the set piece has you on edge. From the music from Henry Jackman to just like the moving parts, the gunfighting. But let's get to the actual fight. The fight between Captain America and Bucky. Every time I watch that fight, I'm still on the edge of my seat, and my mind is still blown to how they pulled that off, how they were able to do such quick movements with their hands. I'm specifically talking about the scene where they're fighting with the knife, and they're doing all those movements, and Bucky like drops the knife and he picks it back up, and he's got the metal arm, so he's able to like use it more, and he shoves it into the van, he moves it up. I'm just like, how does this fight scene function? It's just, it blows my mind every single time. And it doesn't have as much emotional stakes as say the Captain America and Bucky versus Tony, but it's still like it's this fight scene that's you're on the edge of your seat because you don't know what's going to happen next because they've thrown off the gloves. Like, it's just all bets are off on what you thought you knew was going to happen. And technically speaking, from the way it was shot, to the way it was edited, to the practicality of it, to the fight choreography itself, which is a huge part of crafting the best fight scene, everything is perfection. That bridge scene will go down in history as one of my favorite scenes in a superhero film, period.
Very nice. Who's next?
Well, fuck you.
Wow, I guess I win, right? Does that mean I win?
No, Brody, do you want to go first?
I mean, I would go first, but I actually have the same pick.
Oh my God!
Okay, well, that's the problem. That's my pick, too.
Holy shit! Okay, so you guys have to pick two other ones, so
Yeah.
fuck you.
That's nonsense. Oh my gosh.
I can argue against it. I mean, I have one if you're not ready, Brody.
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right, so okay, if I can't pick that one, I'm gonna go with Captain America versus Iron Man and Bucky in there as well.
Right.
The last fight scene, Civil War. I went back and forth between this and that scene as well, and even the elevator scene too from Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I mean, any of these Captain America movies, anything the Russo brothers do, I feel like they have some of the best choreographs in there. And I mean, just bringing in the John Wick choreograph to just these guys they know what to do. They're super intense. The reason I would actually go, and I would still say that, as much as I do say on a technical level, Griffin, you are right. Yours is the more technical level one, but I will say the Civil War one. And people always talk about the airport fight and how it's all great and stuff, but the humor does undermine that sequence when you hear Black Widow and Hawkeye bantering and stuff. It's just there's no stakes there. When Iron Man is fighting, when he's going after Winter Soldier, he is going to kill. He is straight up going to kill. He wants to kill him. There is nothing about that, and Captain America is just trying to save his friend and save his other friend too. I mean, he's trying to stop two of his friends who are both fighting, but in the end, you know he's going to take Bucky's side. And the way that they're just fighting, it's filmed greatly. It has one of the greatest cinematic one perfect moment shots that you see on Twitter when Tony starts shooting his blaster at the shield. That's just a great moment in general. But just it all starts when Tony's trying to fly up there. He doesn't care about his armor getting taken apart. You see his blasters going down when he's just trying to shoot it. When he tells I think it's Friday, when he tells Friday, I'm gonna eyeball it, and shoots the rocket down at it. You know, he's just being stubborn. He's not thinking. He's not using his smart brain to it, but he's just going gritty. He's going brutal. I find this to be one of the most grittiest scenes in the MCU as well, because it's really just a fight for survival at this point. Really, the only person that Cap is willing to kill Iron Man, in my opinion. I see this through his eyes to save his friend Bucky. And it's just a great moment. It's one of the best moments, and it has some of the best emotional ties to the MCU.
I'm going to counter you on that for a second, because I don't think that Captain America... It's made to look like Captain America is going to kill Tony. He would never kill Tony. It's not in his character. You can even see he just damages his armor and throws his shield away. Captain America is never in the mindset to kill Tony. He's really just there to knock him down a few notches and get him out of this murderous mindset. But I
don't
think
know about that. I honestly
think
he was
his friend, he would kill him. That's why
exactly.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because they're both his friends. The drama from that scene comes from the fact that he considers it. I think it's even if it's for a second, he for a second considers it, and I think that's what makes it so compelling. I agree. Okay,
sorry.
Maybe. I don't know. No, well, Brody, what is your choice?
Well, I was gonna segue with a little quote, but I guess I just intervened. I mean, we're all in agreement that all the Captain America fights are fantastic, and I think I was trying to figure out which fight with Cap I wanted to pick, because there's a couple of really good ones. I really like the opening from Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Lemurian Star's good. Yeah.
Yeah, really great. I also really love the last fight with Bucky in Winter Soldier, like when he's just wailing on Cap. I think that's a really powerful moment. I think that's more powerful than the three-way fight from Civil War. In that, it's just the two of them sharing a moment. But I've got to say, the best fight for me on a pure visceral level is the elevator fight.
The elevator fight? You fucking joked about this earlier.
I joked about this, but I joked about it because the more I think about it, that is the fight that sticks out to me. That's the fight it's the most iconic fight for me in the MCU.
Other than the bridge scene, because you both were going to choose the bridge scene, so that means automatically.
Well, yeah, I think that's the best fight, but I don't think when saying iconic, right?
We're saying the best fight.
I know. Iconic.
Let me finish my point first. I'm not arguing it's iconic. I'm just saying that it is iconic. That's why it sort of sprung to mind. But in terms of I love close quarters battles. I think that sort of stuff is really cool. It doesn't have the same emotional stake as your guys' picks. And I totally admit that, and it doesn't really bother me though. In terms of just having it be a badass moment for Cap, I fucking adore it. I love the choreography. It feels very deliberate, whereas some of the moments, other than the bridge fight, which feels very deliberate as well, they're just it's so well choreographed, but it never feels like overly choreographed. It's very gritty, but at the same time, you sort of, I don't know, you appreciate the sort of the artistry of it. I I'm gonna lose this one anyway, so I don't really mind. But
well, here I'll say.
Honest to God,
ahead.
I just really love that fight. I just think all the
it's a great fight.
All great. Like elevator scene. Like if I do look at Captain America: The Winter Soldier, like yes, that Bucky scene's great, but I don't look at the fight. I look at when his mask comes off and the shock and awe that I got in the theater.
Really, you don't look at the fight. You don't look at that hand-to-hand combat.
The fight's great, but when I remember that scene, I think of when his mask falls off, and I remember my audience going like, "Holy shit!"
Wow.
But see, like I look at the elevator scene. The elevator scene's cool too. I do like close combat quarters a lot. I just think for me, like on a pure like choreographed fight scene, Griffin is right. His is the best choreographed fight scene. On emotional level, I think Civil War is the best for just emotionally. Like there's no joking in there. There's no fucking stupid, oh, so we're gonna hang out tomorrow kind of jokes. No, there's straight up just going. And I know Griffin doesn't think Cap would kill, but I think he would kill to protect Bucky, and if it came down to it. But I do get Griffin's perspective on that whole aspect. But I mean, these are all great fight scenes. I mean, when the Russo brothers come to direct a scene, they get the best people to choreograph. So it's really hard to argue against all these. I don't want to, because I like all these fight scenes, but...
No, for sure. I'm actually going to counter you on that Civil War one being the most emotional. I think that the bridge scene is more emotional in a different way. It evokes a different emotion. It evokes suspense. It evokes fear, thrills. You have no idea what is going to happen. In that last one, the Civil War fight scene, as much as I love it, you can kind of figure how it's going to pan out. No one's going to die. Let's be real there. In this one, you have no idea if Falcon's going to die, whether they're going to kill Black Widow. Like I mean, Cap for the most part is going to be safe, but we have no idea if Winter Soldier is going to like pop one off and kill one of those two guys. And every punch, every hit, every kick, every maneuver is so visceral. You feel it in your core. Now, granted, that started at the very beginning with the stuff on the Lumerian Star. You really felt his kicking.
Yeah, it's the whole movie essentially. Yeah.
Right, but the whole movie, every fight scene you can feel it. You can feel the intensity. And also, I will say, my fight scene features probably the most iconic shot of Bucky holding the Captain America shield.
What an arguing iconic, Griffin.
I know it is.
Yeah, for arguing iconic, I mean the scene of freaking the shield getting hit. That's
well, I had to
Yeah.
say. I agree. Out of all of the shots, yes, you're right. That one shot is the most iconic one. But my fight scene, on top of being the best fight scene, also features an iconic shot of Bucky holding Cap's shield. And that was another moment where the fans lost their mind because they were like, "Oh my God, Bucky's going to be the next Captain America!"
I'm
God!
I'm gonna change my answer real quick.
Well, to the like a little old white grandma that watches the film and sees it, she's not gonna know that. She's gonna be like, "Oh, that's cool. He's holding the shield."
Right. I mean, you see this film opening night. All the sweaties are going to be there, and they're the ones who are freaking out about it.
It's true.
See. I don't know. If I'm looking at, like, when I saw these films opening night, I remember Civil War getting more of an appealing and a more screaming thing. Maybe that's just because there's just teenagers everywhere and they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, there's more fan moments than that.
But I will say, Winter Soldier is obviously the better film. It has the better choreographed scenes. But for me, as an iconic, you can argue, there's two different ways to argue all these fight scenes. You can argue choreograph, you can argue emotional ties, how different the emotion is, you can argue the different iconic wise, and in general, it's going to be, how is Tyler going to grade this? Is he going for the most choreographed, or is he going for the most iconic, the most coolest?
You got 30 seconds each now, so we'll do, Zach, you can just get your 30 seconds in.
Okay. My MCU fight scene is the best. It's the best fight scene in the MCU. It brings all this emotion together from Captain America and the Winter Soldier, even tying into Iron Man's arc with his parents dying. This is something very emotional. Iron Man does not give a fuck. He's just trying to kill Bucky and get revenge. That's something we've not seen in Tony Stark yet, and that he is willing to kill, and you feel that. The emotion is in there, has one of the most iconic shots, probably the most iconic shot in the MCU in general, and overall, the scene's fucking awesome. So, my scene's better. Fuck all of you.
And that's perfect timing. There it is. Griffin, you can go.
All right, you know why my fight scene is the best? Because you all chose it. That's it. I don't need any more time. Case closed.
Okay. Brody, go now.
Okay, yeah. So, like, in terms of like the most like sort of like visceral fun action, I think the elevator fight is a really just sort of a fun sequence. But in terms of narrative purpose, it's kind of interesting just because you get to see Cap actually turning against an institution in favor of his morals, which we sort of knew that's what his character embodied in the previous films, but we actually got to see it happen in this moment, and just to see him on a dime just sort of decide my morals are more important than the organization of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think that was a pretty cool moment, and on top of that, we got a pretty cool close quarters fight, which we don't get to see much in superhero movies. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that. I can't go with the elevator, but dude, you argued pretty good for that one. I will say.
That last monologue you started giving, I was like, damn.
Yeah, he's like, wow.
Close quarters
he's really going for it.
I know. I wish I thought of that like 10 minutes ago.
Well, I do agree with him. Is that close quarter fights? I wish we had more of those in like these films. Like, I mean, that's why you look at Batman v Superman. That Batman warehouse scene is great.
Yeah,
I love this up and close quarter fights. I love when films do that.
We were gonna pick like the I mean, both of the TV picks we were gonna like go with were
they're all up close.
Close quarters, yeah.
Close quarters. Yeah.
It's just harder. I feel like it's harder to film those and get away with a lot of the choreographs. So that's why I feel like I strain more towards those close quarters. It reminds me of the Raid too. So
yeah,
exactly,
for sure.
This is hard, man. I had Griffin. I had you like for the whole time, but then Zach said something. Now, my favorite fight is the one that Zach picked, but I mean, Griffin, you did have me until the very end when Zach said, that like you actually feel something for Civil War. And as far as I know, like whenever I went and saw this movie, people had no idea who was going to die. People thought like someone was going to die in this movie when they went and saw it.
Oh yeah, but you never. But it was never going to be one of the two main people.
Well, I remember.
I thought Cap was going to die.
Yeah, people thought Captain was going to die. Yeah, we all did not know what was going to happen. So
the end of his trilogy, I could have seen him, and then you could bring him back with an Infinity Stone. So
right, but that would have been so. It just wouldn't have happened in that movie. The way, like, just knowing the MCU and knowing
that's how the comics.
Well,
I agree. I know.
No one ever dies.
Yeah, I agree with you. That is how the
Dark World and came back.
Right. I mean, I agree with you. That is how the comic plays out. But like, just knowing the MCU and knowing like Infinity War on the horizon, they were going to save all the major deaths for that one. So like,
supposedly, but I mean, you could argue the same thing about Winter Soldier. There was no way they were going to kill the.
And that's why I made my point. I said I knew Captain America was not going to die, but I knew that Black Widow or Falcon could have faced death in that scene.
I don't know about that, but
the way it was shot.
I don't know.
The real question is, Tyler, do you want to see a tiebreaker?
What's a tiebreaker question?
I can't divulge that information.
Depends on how interesting it is. Yeah.
No, man. Well, of course I want to see one, but I mean, I have to give it to Zach. Last minute, me got it. I have to give it to him just because.
God damn you.
The emotion, dude. Tony, and he made a good point too. Tony Stark, he was still going when he was losing his armor, man. He could have died just like trying to shoot Bucky when he was like floating up in the air. That was good. I didn't even think about that.
There's some nice raw emotion, which I didn't get to see too much of, which is nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
But I mean, it was super close.
Griffin, what is the other question?
The other question was going to be who's the best hero in the MCU?
Okay, how about this? I bet you. How about you and me do this?
We're going into this.
You will win this if you can beat me on that argument.
Well, I mean, only
all or nothing.
Hey, and Brody and Tyler can both judge it.
Yeah, they can be the same judge.
Oh, how exciting!
Okay.
Are you guys down for that?
Okay, so here's a stipulation for the tiebreaker. The topic is who's the best hero in the MCU. The stipulation is each person gets 5 minutes. Or I'm sorry, no. I'm sorry. It's a 10-minute discussion total. That's how it is.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so it's best hero in the MCU.
Do you
Best hero
still
in
want
the
that
MCU.
30 seconds at the end or nah?
Yeah. Do the 30 seconds at the end. Yeah.
Gotcha. Alrighty.
All right.
Fine.
Well, who's gonna time this one, Tyler or Brody?
Whoever.
Do you want to do it or do you want me to do it?
I can do it.
I don't mind.
I can do it. It's fine. Sure, I'll do it.
Sweet. All right.
All
Sweet.
right. And
All right.
So what if we pick the same person though?
Then I have a back. No. If we pick, here's the thing. If we pick the same,
Yeah, Tyler and I win.
Okay. Here's the thing. If we pick the same person, then I have a backup question we can use.
Oh my
Okay.
god!
Oh, damn.
You got so many back.
I had to keep 2 questions in the back pocket in case this happened.
Okay.
okay, who are the? Can we both? Who are both of your choices? This will not count for time, but
I'm gonna guess yours is Captain America.
Mine is Captain America. Yes.
Okay. I'll go different for just the sake of it. I'll go Black Panther.
Okay. Was that your actual choice, or was your choice Captain?
No. Captain America would have been my first one, but I'll go.
Do you want to go with
should we do another
the back?
question?
Should we do the backup question?
What's the other bonus question?
I'm fine. Yeah, I mean, is the next one what's the best villain?
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
What is
better.
it?
You know
What
what?
is
I'll do
this?
that. I'll do villain. I'll do villain.
Okay. What's your pick?
Vulture.
Oh my God, that was my pick!
Brody and I win.
I was trying to do
Kill.
I wasn't gonna pick Killmonger because I thought you would, so I just do Vulture.
I'm not gonna pick Killmonger.
Vulture.
I like Killmonger, but I think the Vulture is my personal favorite.
I'll argue Thanos if that's fine.
That's an unfair advantage.
Oh God, I'm gonna.
Okay, all right. I have a third backup question.
Okay, what is it?
The third backup question is which character has gone on the biggest emotional journey?
Iron Man.
Ooh.
It's either Iron Man or Cap. Like it has
My
to be.
pick is Captain America, but
You said most emotional journey?
well, yeah, who goes through the most like a emotional
character
journey that's
development?
filled with a lot of depth and such. And it doesn't have to span 3 films. It could span like 2, 1, just you name it.
You know what? You're gonna say Cap, right?
I already said Cap, yeah.
I would go Iron Man. Honestly.
I think we found our topic here.
I like this.
We did.
This is good because actually,
ain't no Vulture, Captain America arguing in this one.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
Alright.
Zach has an advantage because Iron Man is just like in so many films. Even in all the Avengers films are about Iron Man. So
Okay. All
this will be
right.
fun.
Well,
Alright.
I will let Zach go first.
Okay, so Iron Man. So this is the most emotional arc, correct?
Yes.
Is this okay? So Iron Man in general, in the most emotional arc, I've already said this with his best fight scene. This guy literally changed. Like you've never seen him actually want to kill someone, but to protect someone, to get revenge for something, for his family dying, for his mother dying. He didn't really care about his father, but his mother, that was someone important to him. You get that development into the beginning of Civil War, where he's young CGI Robert Downey Jr. and you see him talking to his parents, but it all started back with Iron Man, where you see him being this cocky Hugh Hefner type of guy, and he just completely changes. You look at the first Iron Man to Civil War. And even Spider-Man: Homecoming. I'm not going to get into Infinity War, but you get into his arc through all those films. How dark he I'm going to bring in Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3, you get the most personal story, I think, out of any of the MCU heroes in that film.
Oh,
the reason that a lot of people but I think a lot of people hate that film because you don't get a lot of Iron Man. You get a lot more Tony Stark. You get him seeing his PTSD. I don't remember a superhero film where we got PTSD from seeing a hero who went through this wormhole.
They don't play into
aliens.
the PTSD as full as they should. They bring it up. It's a nice little side
But I
thing to
think it's
bring in
something
there,
in there
but
that they brought
don't
into.
play into it at its fullest.
But I do think they do play it into this full. So you see it through Iron Man 3, and then Avengers Age of Ultron, you see him trying, he's thinking, he's like, hey, I have to protect people, and he builds Ultron
But his
himself
motivations
to protect
in
people.
His motivations in Age of Ultron actually make no sense. He makes a very rash and dumb decision almost instantly for
But then
such a small reason.
His death for Civil War. You look at his death in Civil War. Now you understand.
Listen, here's the thing about Civil
why
War.
He wants this time for the Soviet
you keep going back to
Accords.
Civil War, and you're right on a lot of parts. But Civil War is also one of it at its core. It's a Captain America film. It's about a man who is finding his way. He's the leader of the Avengers. They're dealing with the government trying to involve themselves in their affairs, and he doesn't want to have it. He's sticking true to his morals. He's calling back to his past, to a woman that he loved, to someone who was a dear friend of his and stuff. He's calling back to his past to realize that he can't do this. He's going to stick to his guns, and it's true to his character. He has to prove his friend's innocence. He has to stick to his guns, even if it's to a fault, and you see that at the end in the final fight scene. Captain America drops the shield at the very end because he's no longer Captain America, because he isn't that shining, perfect embodiment of humanity that he was when he started out in the first Avenger. That is the true showcase of an arc. Civil War is the end of Captain America. Steve Rogers is still around, but he's not Captain America in Infinity War. In the first Avenger, we see Captain America who's wide-eyed. He's a guy who wants to just fight bad guys. He doesn't like bullies. He doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want the bad guys to get the upper hand and kill people. He wants to do his part, and he feels he should, which is why he's the perfect test subject to get the serum. Captain America is the embodiment of everyone we want to be. And so when we see him progress as a character and we see his flaws start to show themselves, it becomes much more intriguing. When we get to Winter Soldier, Cap is looking at the world in a totally different light. He doesn't know how he wants to, how he feels about government interference and stuff like that.
But see, okay, so that's where I'll argue. So yes, I do agree with you. Captain America has had a great arc, but the thing about Tony Stark is I feel like he is also the most relatable in here. He is the most flawed character in the MCU you look at him. He has made rash mistakes. He has fucked up a fuck ton of times. From the first film all the way to Spider-Man Homecoming. Bringing in a kid to help him fight Captain America to prove his right is dumb mistakes on his part. But that's the best thing about him is that you see
You know why
that
he was
he's
bringing in a
trying to
kid?
better
Because
himself.
it was going to bring in a lot of money. Because Spider-Man's going to
Well, no
bring in
shit.
a lot of money.
But that's the best thing is that he is the most flawed character, and you see him trying to get better. You see him trying to better himself.
But I almost feel like he's flawed. He's flawed to a caricature at this point. Like, when will he? Like, he just doesn't learn. Like, at some point, he just becomes a dog, just like doing the same mistakes over and over again and not.
But that's the
learning.
thing about his character is that. That's just him. He's not going to learn. In reality, none of us learn from our mistakes. Sometimes we don't learn from our mistakes. But you see him, he is a flawed but great character. In the first film, he thinks he's perfect, but then his imperfections start showing to him, and you see that journey throughout each and every film. To the first Avengers, he is this cocky guy in that first Avengers. He is bickering. He's making fun of all the Avengers. Avengers Age of Ultron comes around. He fucks up big time. Second Avenger, he fucks up big time. Iron Man 3, you see him that he has this PTSD. He's like, I need to build. I need to make and be safe. And obviously, I can't get into Avengers Infinity War, which is fucking up my conversation on this whole part. But just looking at Spider-Man Homecoming, he is trying to be a mentor. He is trying to be this different person. He's trying to tell Spider-Man that he
I would say that in Spider-Man
to be better than him.
I would say in Spider-Man, you're right, but in Spider-Man Homecoming, I would argue that there really isn't that much development with him. It's him as a mentor figure.
Isn't. But you do see him being that mentor figure. That's why I like that. It adds a little bit more
But it doesn't add
War.
that much to him. He's already a mentor figure because he's one of the oldest ones. I mean, he's been around the longest, and he's been through the most stuff.
But we don't have to bring it into the conversation. He's old.
Of course you do, but that's so naturally he's going to be a mentor.
Old as fuck too. Who has he ever been a mentor to? Little Bill Bob Jr. down the street.
All of the Avengers, and anyone he's ever been with, everyone he's ever fought alongside of, he's an inspiration.
He's an inspiration in America.
No, not even in America.
Not even in America.
He goes to Wakanda. He literally goes to Wakanda, and like it's so.
Well, Black Panther wanted Iron Man's side at first.
He wanted the only reason he wanted Iron Man's side is because he wanted Bucky. It had nothing to do.
Fine.
It had absolutely nothing to do with Captain America on the whole. He just wanted revenge on the guy who killed his father. It had nothing to do with Captain America.
That's the same thing with Iron Man. It's a great arc. You see what happens through him. It starts in the first film and it goes through this
and you're adding to my point by showing that Captain America was protecting a guy who clearly did stuff bad because he was able to see the good in him, and as a result, it ends up showcasing his own flaws.
Captain America, the thing, they're both different arcs.
They are both different.
Captain America is less flawed.
Captain America is just more.
Captain America is less flawed. He's a perfect fucking human being that I can't relate to because if I wanted super strength, I couldn't be that.
And they showcase that in Winter Soldier and Civil War. They showcase his flaws, how he's not this perfect human, how he's looking at the world completely different. He's sweating. Winter Soldier.
Tony Stark is the most flawed human being in the MCU.
But that doesn't make him the most developed.
I love flawed arcs, though. It's a different arc, though. I love flawed arcs. I like seeing these arcs.
So
but when someone goes from being this perfect human being,
I'll give each of you 1 minute to.
Yeah, there you go. I was about to say the same thing. Okay. Yeah. Right. He was getting to a fever pitch, and I was like, "Boy, the spoiler was going to slip out."
I'm fucking having a heart attack over here.
I know, but I love it. I am too.
I'm really.
No, I know. He's saying we'll be like hunted down.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
There's no hate in this. I like both arcs.
Yeah.
So.
We'll do.
Yeah.
Griffin, you can go first.
Okay. So the reason why Captain America has the best arc, first of all, he has the best trilogy out of anyone in the MCU. It's the most complete one, and regardless of the fact that he is still involved in Infinity War, he's not the same character that he was at the end of Civil War. Civil War marks the end of Captain America as we know him. It marks the end of the journey that we saw him embark on at the beginning of the first Avenger. The first Avenger, we see this optimistic, ideal embodiment of someone that we want to be. In the Winter Soldier, we see a guy who's a little bit more cynical of the world. He's trying to find his place place in the world. He doesn't know. He's almost having an identity crisis to an extent, and eventually, he realizes the people he trusts, he can't trust, and so it's a hard lesson for him to learn. Then we get to Civil War, and it's a film that showcases a man who is sticking true to his beliefs regardless of what the outcome is going to be. He will die standing up for his beliefs, and we see how that's also makes him a little bit flawed human being. We see how he goes against people that he considers friends and stuff like that. And by the time we get to the end of it, he drops the shield because he himself knows on the inside, I am not that perfect human being that should be carrying this mantle anymore. It's just not who I am anymore. And so he is just completely changed as a person. I mean, in each installment of his franchise, he gets more and more cynical. And it's kind of, in a way, tragic for this guy who just was so full of hope and optimism to just be beaten down and realize, I can't be the figurehead of this group anymore. I can't lead the Avengers
Tyler,
because...
Is that a minute?
Yes.
Yeah.
You just hit a minute.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So my turn now?
Yeah.
All right, so Tony Stark in general, you look at him, he has had an arc as well. You look through Iron Man 1, like I said, he looked at himself as a perfect human being, and now he is just flawed because he keeps trying to do different things. He keeps trying to protect the loved ones that he has. That is why he's doing this now. When he was Iron Man at first, he was just like, I'm Iron Man. He's just trying to be this fucking cool guy, but now he has actual problems to deal with. And that's why I look at him and I see that he is this flawed human being who's very relatable, because we've all been in situations where we want something to be perfect. We want something to be safe. But in reality, if you try too hard, if you keep trying, you fuck up and you just learn from your mistakes. And at times, he is trying to learn from his mistakes. Signing these Soviet Accords showed where he was trying to finish his mistake, saying, hey, I can't be trusted with my mind. I built a fucking robot that tried to kill half the fucking population. Not even half, the whole population. He wanted to restart. That is the thing about him. He wants to be a mentor. He's trying to teach Spider-Man, Peter Parker, that he wants him to be better than him. Yes, Captain America has had a great arc. He is no longer Captain America. You see that at the end of Civil War. But as I look at both heroes, I always see Iron Man being the one who started it, and his arc just always continuously continuing. Fuck, I didn't finish.
Oh, there's a lot to digest.
I'm really happy we had this bonus round because that was awesome. I'm not even kidding. That was awesome.
Griffin, great
I don't
job.
like the bonus
Great job.
Great job, man. Great job.
I have anxiety
I'm
just
gonna need.
listening.
Dude, I'm taking a fucking shower after this. I'm literally.
There's your workout for the day.
Fuck yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Well, you're
Alright,
both
so how do we
wrong.
do
It's
this?
4.
There you
Wow.
go.
You know
No, I'm
what?
kidding, I'm joking.
I almost went Thor though. I almost went Thor.
You would have
Thor
lost that
Ragnarok.
battle, buddy.
I know.
Oh shit! Yes. How do we do this? This verdict?
I don't.
You just want to talk about what we liked and then each say who we pick and then we can have a tiebreaker.
We should have just said Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. What a one.
Masterpiece.
You didn't see that coming.
Oh my god.
You didn't see that coming.
No.
See that coming?
I liked what he. I mean, Zach make a point about the arc, Iron Man's arc.
Mm-hmm.
But Griffin did too.
Yeah. What's the thing?
Wow, you just summed up the debate.
I felt attacked.
I really like the I mean, you're picking between two really, really good arcs. I really like I mean, that's the thing. We have to take our personal opinion out of this just because.
Yeah.
They are both really good, but obviously we have our own preferences. In terms of how well they were argued, I really liked because at first Griffin was really hammering home this idea that Iron Man stagnates, and I really liked Zach's rebuttal that it wasn't so much stagnation as it was him constantly trying and failing to understand his mistake, and which I think definitely is what makes Iron Man a compelling character, because it's not that he doesn't it's not that he just is unabashedly, kind of a shitty person. It's that he doesn't really fully get why the things he does aren't exactly great sometimes, and until the consequences are in his face. And so yeah, I definitely agree that they're different arcs.
Oh yeah, totally different.
I'm really glad you brought that point up because I thought Griffin had a really compelling point until you brought that up, which definitely leveled the playing field again. Talking in circles now.
Yeah, and then same thing for relatability when you were talking about both really good because I was siding with Iron Man. Zach made good points about Iron Man, but then Griffin made great points about Steve Rogers and in how he began in the first Avenger, kind of as a scrawny guy, and you kind of get to see him grow as a person, and
Yeah.
he's much more to a human level. But
You guys did a really good job arguing the point.
this was like the first real argument.
It was like a fight. That was like throw some knives out and
Yeah.
I literally felt like we were attacking each other.
I know, Zach. I'm so
Civil
sorry.
War.
I don't hate
No,
you.
I'm sorry too. I felt like this was that fucking fight on the bridge.
This was great.
No, it's
Yeah.
Civil War, Iron Man versus Cap, like literally.
Trading punches.
Pretty
There
much,
we go.
pretty much.
Yeah.
oh jeez. So yeah,
Like I said, it's hard talking shit about something that you can easily argue for too.
I know.
Yeah.
exactly.
I don't know how they do it on movie fights.
Yeah. I don't know. They're good. They're good
So
at it.
Tyler, who you say came out on top in this little tiebreaker? And remember, if we have a tie, we have to fight. So
I know.
Oh my God. I don't know if this show can go on any longer.
We'll leave it up for the audience at that
Yeah,
point.
we'll leave it
Yeah.
up for the audience.
Yeah, I gotta give Zach just by a bit.
okay, yeah, that's actually sorry, Griffin. That's where I was going as well.
God,
so.
you fuckers.
Just a
I
bit.
get
I
you
mean,
at the-
they're
I
both
hooked you
great
at the-
arguments.
Just by a hair, yeah.
It's all
I
good.
think it was just like when he started talking about the fact that Iron Man's faults are kind of the feature, and I think bringing it home with Homecoming, which at first is a decision I really didn't like, the idea of Iron Man being in Homecoming, but just the fact that he did try to mentor Peter in that
Yeah,
small capacity shows a lot of growth on his part, which
Yeah,
I
sure.
think was needed for the character. So yeah, I really like those points.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Zach Pope, you are the winner. Well done,
MVP.
sir. That
Yeah,
was
Yeah, at
like
least there's no Crowgate this time.
there is no. You know what? That's my favorite part about this. It was a fair fight. It went down to the wire. Oh my
For
God.
the viewers, if you don't know what Rotten or Fresh is, there's the championship fight. There was a little Crowgate.
There was a
issue
little
there.
scandal in there that caused me to lose.
Very controversial.
Oh my gosh. Very
You've lost
controversial
his honor this time,
episode.
Griffin.
Go check it out. Yeah, I remember actually just like calling Brody and I was just like, man, this is fucking bullshit. I was like, oh my God. But yes, well done, Zach. Awesome job on this
Thank you, guys.
MCU
Yep,
debate show. Holy shit, this was a lot of fun, guys. I don't
Fuck
even
yeah.
this just makes me want to do our debate show even more. We've been planning it for almost a year now. We want to do a movie style debate show called Against the Ropes, and this has just kind of been like a little bit of a trial. So if you guys really like this, if you want to see more of this content, be sure to like it. Be sure to share it with people. Comment down below who you think are the winners. What your argument would have been. We really want to have some fun with this. We really want to get it out there, and we really just want you to enjoy the content. So thank you all for watching, and thank you to the panelists, the fighters, the contenders. This was a blast. We will definitely do it again. Go around the horn and let everyone know where you guys can find you, starting with Mr. Zach Pope, our victor.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was a ton of fun. I honestly, like, next time you guys do a debate, I would be so willing to come down. I mean, tons of great movies coming over the summer.
Yeah.
And this was just a ton of fun. So thank you guys for having me on. It was great. Make sure to go hit up my YouTube channel, Zach Pope. Just hit it up. You can find me as just reviewing movies and talking a bunch of geeky shit. And my Twitter handle is @PopeTheKing.
Good stuff. All right, Mr. Tyler Tompkins, how are you doing, and where can everyone find you?
Pretty good. That was intense, man. It's like recovering.
We
Yeah,
all
you
have
can.
PTSD now.
I know. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram by searching Tyler Tompkins. And Griffin and I were talking about this. I should be the first one that pops up.
Should be.
Maybe third, but probably first. Hopefully.
Should be.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Not kept.
anyways.
Yeah, never.
All right, and as always, Mr. Brody Serravalli, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter @Brody Serravalli. If you know how to spell that, I'm sure Griffin will have a link somewhere. So
Maybe
Yeah,
there will
maybe.
be.
He'll think
Who
about it.
knows? This is a long episode, so probably not.
No time, yeah.
All right.
No time for a
good
link in
stuff.
the description.
Yeah, there may be a link. Yeah, there will be a link in the description. I'm just kidding. But yeah, this was a lot of fun, guys. Be sure to go check out all of them on their social media, on their respective YouTube channels, and all that good stuff. If you like this video, be sure to like it, share with your friends, and subscribe to the Men vs. Movies channel for more content like this. More movie reviews. We're going to be having a review out for Infinity War, and we'll probably have a few other MCU related videos coming out. I know Tyler and I just recorded a top 5 MCU scores video, so that should be coming your way soon if it's not already out.
Very interested.
Very interesting, very controversial topic. That was almost a debate topic in here. So
that was a good one. You're in for a treat for that one.
Yeah, you're in for a treat with that one. But anyways, yeah, we got a bunch of podcasts. We got our James Bond podcast, The Words Are Not Enough, that I do with Brody. I've got our Westworld podcast that I do with Zach and Tyler. So everyone that you've seen featured in this video is somehow involved in some content that we got going on this channel. So you are in luck. If you can always like Men vs. Movies on Facebook and follow us on Twitter simply by searching Men vs. Movies. And lastly, guys, if you like me specifically and you like what I have to say, you can always give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. All right, this is a long video, and I hope you all enjoyed. And until next time, take care.